Hello, welcome to my channel. My name's Amanda and I love crafting, shopping, decor and makeovers. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome back to my focused dollhouse series on different parts of the dollhouse and the furniture that I've made for them. I didn't realise how many coffee tables I've had in my dollhouse lounges until I'd compiled today's video. So let's get into it and I'll show you all the different coffee tables that I've made and just really show you how simple it is to make a coffee table for your dollhouse with mostly things that you can just find lying around the house. So this is my first coffee table and it's basically, as you can see there, a sort of a cork stopper for a gin bottle stuck onto the bottom of a piece of cardboard, which I've just wrapped around it some lovely wood effect paper. I always get them from the Range or the Works. They do these lovely books full of different really thick papers. They're usually big squares. And I've just found them really invaluable for the dollhouse, for wallpaper and flooring and rugs and all sorts of things. So that was a nice wood effect one, which is actually in a Christmas booklet. So it had lots of Christmas things in it as well. Here's a couple of books. These are always good accessories to have for your dollhouse. I probably should do a little accessories video for you, because what I have found with some of the accessories that I've made is that when I've changed dollhouses or redecorated, I tend to keep these things, like this candle here, which I made using some white tack, some little bits of thread and a piece of cardboard to make the outer, because you can just use them again and again in your decor, just like you would in your real house. This was a bit of sort of like a take on one of those farmhouse beads. To be fair, I haven't kept that. It sort of went with the style of this house. And then this bottle of wine, again, I didn't keep that either. I did make some better bottles, actually. That was a pen top, a gel pen top. And then I did find a sort of a better way of making bottles with melting glue sticks. So, you know, you learn and adapt. And then the classic plant in a bottle top is always a great accessory, and I probably still have that one. So I used it on my coffee table, but I use it on the floor, I use it, you know, on shelving. So they're handy little accessories to keep. But the table's the thing. So when I change the decor, I keep the table sometimes. And then usually when I have a renovation or a makeover, I'll just make a brand new table, because obviously that was no effort at all with a piece of card covered and then the base. But also just showing you here that you can do a completely new room and keep the same table. And as I said, you would do that in your real house as well, wouldn't you? And then you just dress the table with different accessories on it. So I keep it a little bit more simple this time. I've got a little tray. A candle. It's a slightly different candle that I've made, and then another couple of books. So sort of a variation on the theme of the first one, but a little bit more controlled, and on a little tray that can be taken off the table, you know, as and when you need to. And those little accessories are ones that I've kept as well, to be fair. So that was the first table. So simple, you know, anybody could make a table like that. Here comes a little bonus side table here. That was actually a camera case. You know, we used to have filming cameras. That was a camera film holder case, and then a little mirror that I just stuck on the top. And then I've just put a little newspaper on the top, and then probably like a coaster or a mug or something to go on the side. But again, another super simple idea for a side table. Which if you had a bigger mirror, you could have that as your coffee table, or if you have a smaller room, you can. Here's another coffee table. This was a really good idea. It's a deodorant box. Any little cardboard box would do, or you could make your own. And then I just covered it with some lovely furry material that was a top of mine that has been used for many things around the house, bed covers and throws and all sorts. But it makes a nice little furry kind of poufet ottoman type thing. I actually do have something similar, although I have little legs on mine, so you could even put legs on the bottom of that, little beads just to make feet, so that could be upcycled. And again, you just use your accessories on. So that tray is kind of a favourite of mine. And then I've got the books, but I'm just adding a little bit of greenery just to change it up. So, yeah, this is definitely another idea. And I wanted to do something different from the first one, which was like a wooden table. So I think this is definitely a big change as a furry ottoman, but very nice. And again, you can dress it up differently. Here's a Christmas tray on there with some Christmas magazines. So, you can keep the same furniture and then just dress it differently. And I've used the same tray here, but again, just dressed it with some different things, books and greenery, a little vase, and still that candle, because as I say, some of these accessories are, you can reuse them a lot. So here is another coffee table. This was from a kit. I did this cute little dollhouse kit, and this was nice and easy, just a piece of a round wood and then a couple of pieces to assemble on the bottom. You got yourself a nice piece of modern furniture, and that's pretty easy to assemble. And then I had this little book that came with the kit as well, so it just folded together, glued it together, and that can go on top. And then I think also that came with a kit a teeny tiny little cup of coffee, and an Eiffel Tower model, which is quite sweet. And I have actually kept that Eiffel Tower thing and used it in one of my bookcases. So that was a nice little item I recycled. But it's a good little idea. And you could, if you didn't have wood, obviously you could just use card again, couldn't you? Thick card, matchsticks, or lollipop sticks, or some kind of thing for the base. So it's easily replicated. Idea if you wanted yourself a nice little round modern coffee table. So going on the influence of that, I thought I'll have a little round coffee table. So I again just got a button, put it on top of a lid off a deodorant, and then used another lid off a jar on top, and I literally just blue tacked it together. So I mean, you could use your glue gun, but I like to sometimes just keep it so I can take them apart again and use it. You could use it as a tray, or use the base as a plant pot. So I keep my options open by blue tacking them, and to be honest, it holds nicely. It's not like I'm playing with them, so it's not like they're going to break apart. So that was inspired by the Dollhouse kit, to have a little round coffee table, and then the magazine. I think it was a printable actually, but again, inspired by the Dollhouse kit, so I thought I'd have a magazine rather than a book for a change. And then just added a little container, little plant pot, I think, and put a little bit of greenery in it. So I've got a little plant pot on the table. Onto another coffee table. This one I actually made for a rooftop garden to start with, but then I did move it into the living room. It's 2 Di Serrano lids, and then I just taped them together with some double-sided sticky tape. And then I had a piece of Perspex left over from one of the Dollhouse kits that I did. So anything that I have in a Dollhouse kit that I don't use, I always try and keep and then use in my Dollhouse projects. Also, I've got this lovely sticky back plastic, and I thought if I wrap that around the outside of the table, you can't see that it says Di Serrano on it. And also it gives it a nice sort of professional looking edging that looks like sort of a black wood, so it makes that look like perhaps a wooden table rather than 2 plastic lids. And then the Di Serrano logo on the top just looks like a nice fancy logo. So that's a nice little way there to disguise that you've stuck 2 things together. And that sticky back plastic, I just get that from Poundland. I think it might be £2. It used to be £1. I think it's £2 now, but it's definitely well worth it. And I have used it many places around the Dollhouse, and they do them in different colours as well. So there's a great range there that you could use for flooring, walls and furniture in the Dollhouse. So when that's all together, nice and neat, and then as I say, I've just got this piece of Perspex that I can just lay on top. Again, you could glue it on if you don't want it to move, but as I say, I may use it somewhere else, so I keep my options open by just laying it on the top. And then again, just dressing it with the magazines, the books, the candle, and a nice little vase of flowers. So that's a nice modern looking glass tabletop that I was very pleased with. and another hopefully good idea that you might want to try out. Again, if you didn't have the piece of perspex, you might have a little photo frame that might have a piece of glass in that you could use. I'm sure you could find something similar, even just like a piece of plastic, thin plastic would work, so anything. Another little side table there, that is just a lid, but I thought it was nice because it was nice shiny silver, so I used that as a little side table. Okay, finally we're at the last two coffee tables. This one was super easy. This was just a lid. And I thought that goes quite nice with my new sort of low style settee. Got a little laptop from a Dollhouse kit, another one that I made. So I do like to filch things out of there when I've finished with them. And a little Starbucks mug to go on the coffee table. So I think that's so simple, but just works, so any kinds of lid that you can find off containers, or usually toiletries or body creams or something like that, they would make fantastic coffee tables, and you don't even have to do any gluing or sticking. This one, though, a couple of lids, 2 drinking lids, I think, and I've just used my glue gun to glue them together. So then that makes a lovely gold base for the table. And then the top of the lid, again, I think it was some kind of lid or something out of, I don't know whether it's a candle or something, but just glued that on as well. And there you go. I've got a lovely side table to go at the side of the settee. But you could have it in front of the settee as a coffee table, and then again the usual, pop a plant on it, maybe a drink or a magazine, and you've got yourself another lovely table for the living room. So I hope you found all those inspiring. As I say, mostly using lids or bits of cardboard or bits of plastic. It's amazing what you can do for your dollhouse if you just have a little look around and try things out. So as always, thank you very much for watching. If you have subscribed, thank you very much. If you haven't, please consider doing so. Give me a like, drop me a comment, because I do love to hear from you. So until next week, take care. Bye bye.